The year was 1977 in a quiet suburban town called Enfield, only a few miles away from the centre of London. A single mother of four, named Peggy, had been living a normal life until one day she started to notice strange goings-on throughout the house and with her children, especially her 11-year-old daughter, Janet. It was the evening of August 30th, 1977, and Mrs. Hodgeson was keen to get her children into bed. She heard Janet complaining from upstairs that the beds and furniture were wobbling. Mrs. Hodgeson told her daughter to stop mucking around. The following evening, however, there was an altogether more bizarre disturbance. Mrs. Hodgeson heard a crash from upstairs. Annoyed, she went to tell her children to settle down. Entering the bedroom with Janet's Starsky and Hutch posters on the wall, Mrs. Hodgeson saw the chest of drawers move entirely unaided. She pushed it back, but found that it was being propelled towards the door by an invisible force. It seemed as if some supernatural presence was trying to trap the family in the room with the heavy oak chest. Two private investigators were called to investigate the disturbances. Maurice Gross, a famous paranormal investigator, and Guy Lyon Playfair, a writer who would later turn this story into a book named This House is Haunted. The investigators found themselves caught in a chaotic atmosphere of apparent psychic activity, with every poltergeist trick thrown at them. Sofas levitated, furniture spun round and was flung across the room, and the family would be thrown out of their beds at night. The evil forces that lurked within the house took a particular liking to Janet, and she would seemingly speak with the voice of an old man. These are sounds being made by an 11-year-old girl, explaining in graphic detail the exact moment of death. The death of Bill Wilkins, who had lived at 284 Green Street before the Hodgson family. Janet's claims about his demise were later confirmed by Bill's son.
I want you to tell me whether you remember what happened to you when you died. Just before you died and just after you died.
Days before I died, I went blind. Then I had an hemorrhage, and I fell asleep, and I died in a chair in the corner downstairs.
Sources claim that Janet could even produce these sounds with a mouthful of water, which would normally be impossible. American paranormal investigator Ed Warren claimed that Janet was once sound asleep and levitating in mid-air, and concluded that the children were the subject of demonic possession. The Warrens, in this particular case, are the subject of the movie The Conjuring 2. This case has been heavily debated ever since, and has become the most documented poltergeist activity in history. Even police officers at the time of these events were interviewed on TV and made statements about witnessing that the furniture did in fact move without being touched. What do you think? Was the Hodgson family haunted by a malevolent spirit, or were these just clever pranks from the children?